So I need lesson 27.
I only got one piece of paper.
Yeah, I only got one paper.
Yeah, you should have only one.
Oh, usually when we have three.
It's because we have
Yeah.
on the back
So
side.
you haven't done the backside. So you should have the first page, and you should have worked on the first two problems, right? Did we get through the third problem?
No,
Yeah.
no way.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So far we have learned about
Kind of forgot about everything.
3 types of solutions, right?
No solution, one solution, infinite solutions.
So if we have one solution, what is one solution?
Intercept, different slopes, and different intercepts.
So their slopes are different.
Yeah.
What else?
The intercept,
What else do we know about one solutions? Guys. Yep. Gladys, turn around. Get to work. Do we need to add anything else? No. To when 2 lines have one solution? No. Their slopes have to be different. What else has to be different?
different y-intercept.
Their y-intercepts have to be different. Alright. So, do my one solution look like this, or like this? What do they look like?
They're crossing, I think it is. I don't know.
Well, if they have one solution, does that mean that
They're crossing because they have different slopes.
they cross each other, right?
Yeah.
So when I graph them, my line should cross at one point or another, right? All right. So what about no solution? What do we know about no solution?
Same solution.
Or don't they have to have the
Slope,
same
different
slope and same?
intercept, and lines of
Same.
Same slope, different line to section.
No, wait. Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm
So for no solutions, we have same slope, different y-intercepts. Do they?
And they're parallel.
Yeah, they're parallel.
They are parallel, which means when we graph them, they should look which way?
Straight.
That way.
Straight, right? Are they gonna ever touch?
No,
No.
they don't turn.
No, they never touch. What about the one we learned on Friday? Which one was the one that we learned on Friday?
What? I don't remember.
So they have to have both y and
Infinite solutions.
Yeah,
Y
Hold on.
is the same and the slope is the same, so they have to.
So my slope is the same. And what else is the same?
Wait.
The y intercept.
The y-intercepts.
Slope.
Okay.
Well,
And
Am I
they
gonna have one solution, no solution, or many solutions?
many solutions.
You're right. I put
Wait,
slopes
why did I
twice.
do
he saw that, not me. So.
Thank you.
Miss,
So you're
uh,
welcome. It's out
should I
like
log
that.
out? Got to.
Good
Slope,
job,
slope,
Jeff.
slope,
Honestly,
slope,
we
slope,
can
slope, same.
Okay, so with infinite amount of solutions, what must be true about your lines?
They overlap.
In a minute.
They always intercept.
They always intercept and they overlap. So if I was to graph a one solution, how would my lines look if I was graphing a one solution systems of linear equations? They would go somewhere around there, right? Where this would be my intercept point.
Yeah,
What about no solution?
they're parallel.
They're parallel, which means that they just go straight up.
Yeah.
Or to the side, to the left, to the
Yeah, they could go straight across, diagonal, or straight up,
that way.
vertical. What about infinite amount of solutions?
They overlap.
You need- it could go this way.
They have like the same.
It could be curved. It's like,
If my first linear equation is this way, and I have an infinite amount of solutions, is my line gonna cross?
No, it's gonna be overlapping.
It's gonna be overlapping it, so it's gonna be at the same,
it's a rainbow.
right on top of each other, right?
Yeah, but it's you wrote it down right. He's struggling, man.
Did you sign into Windows? Okay, well, let the computer think.
The computer thing.
I don't even think I'm getting right.
Yeah, no, it can process.
What's that?
Knowledge.
I'm not sure.
Knowledge
You guys,
We'll give it.
alright, so,
for the processing.
So let me go to gym.
oh, you guys are
I'm
going to
behind in everything.
Dude, I don't.
Oh,
I'm sick, but I don't need to start out of school.
Huh?
But yeah, I was sick the whole day, and I'm
I
still
don't like
doing
those
sick.
pictures.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going there. I'm gonna have a talk with them. That's not
Well,
happening.
that's a conversation you have to
I
have
know.
with Zach.
That's why I said I'm gonna have this conversation with Jack.
Wait, where?
I don't really care.
Steve Club.
Alright, Ivan, have a seat and get back to work. Karen, what are we doing?
It's been a minute.
I'll say
To your computer?
I did that one. I did that one.
You need to be working on your stuff.
Being bad, and I think it's
Huh? Who?
No.
That's fine.
Oh,
It's not like if I sit over there, I sit over here.
Alright, so for your first equation, what did we determine? What type of solution do we have for our first one?
Do me.
For your first problem on your
No
worksheet?
solution.
Oh,
For 3x plus 4y equals 5 and y equals 3/4 x plus 1.
No solution.
well, which one are we
Number
on?
one.
bro, this,
Number 1.
this one?
No.
Number 1 on
the other
on the
one.
front page.
Oh, that's why.
Here.
Oh, oh.
Number 1.
Oh.
So you have 3x plus 4y equals 5 and y equals negative 3/4 x plus 1.
I'll do this.
What can we, Joshua, what can we tell about our two equations up here?
Well, so I'll just write it on a different paper.
They're in the y equals mx. One is in the y equals
Okay,
mx.
hold on, because I have a lot of people talking
I'm not talking.
when you guys need to be listening. Miriam, what can you tell about our two equations?
One of them is in the y equals mx plus b form.
One is in the y equals mx plus b form. Okay, where mx is what? What's mx?
Slope.
MX.
Is our slope,
That's a slope.
and what's our b?
That's the white intersector.
That's our y-intercept. Okay? Where we have to remember that we have to write our x, comma, y.
White intersector.
So, what must we do to our first equation in order to solve it?
Oh, you gotta substitute.
Well, let's talk about our two types of, how do we solve these types of equations?
Oh, we can put in the YMX plus B form, or not, then we could just solve it. Like, minus 2. Yeah. Like doing math. We do math with it.
So, our first option is to do it in the y, put it in the y equals mx plus b form. What do we know, or what do we have?
Like some-
When we put our equations in the y equals mx plus b form, are they asking us to solve the nature of our solution or
Not
to graph?
really, they're just telling us, to what you call it.
They're just kind of telling us what to write.
Telling us what?
They're telling us to put the
Yeah.
equation in that form and then plot it on the graph.
On the graph? Okay. And what is our second option?
Oh, the
to
zero
substitute
thing.
it.
To substitute
Ceros.
for 0.
Ceros. Oh, no,
It's a
no,
Y.
ceros.
Oh,
To substitute x and y for 0, right? When is it easier to substitute? Really? When is it?
Never had an initial.
Alright, so if I'm substituting for x and y, what is it that I'm trying to find?
Wait.
So if I substitute 0 for x, I'm trying to find
the
y.
Y.
So you're finding your y
And your
and x intercepts. Okay? This is easier to graph. Okay? When I put it in my y equals mx plus b form or my y-intercept form, I'm putting it this way so I could compare my two equations.
Was
Morning.
good, bye. Who else is here?
Casper.
Alright, so, good morning, Ruby. When I'm putting it in the y equals mx plus b form, the reason I'm doing that is so that I could compare my two equations and determine the type of solution it is. If it's a one solution, no solution, or infinite amount of solutions, okay? If I'm substituting for x and y, I could also do that. But it's also so that I could be able to plot my x and my y-intercept, okay? So let's look at our equation again. We have 3x plus 4y equals 5 and y equals negative 3 for x plus 1. Miriam already said that one of our equations is in the y equals mx plus b form. What do I need to do to that other equation?
Put it in the y equals
Wait, hold on. Say that one more time. So I have to take 3x plus 4y equals 5. So I'm subtracting, hold on, am I subtracting 3 on its own? No, why not?
Because you always did carry on the.
Yeah, you gotta always care about the X.
Because you have to carry the x with it, right? Because they come together.
Okay, es como se dice.
So I have to subtract 3x from each side. Why did I not put negative 3x right underneath 5? Hold on, Kevin. Why not, Eddie? Then move on to something else.
I can't.
To another class.
No, I can't.
Then do reading plus or Dreambox while I could check you.
I thought you told me to have to take that.
Can you save it? Can you save your quiz?
No.
Then go with Miss Gomez and see if she could check you.
She's not checking. The kids came over here, but we said you're not checking.
Then wait. Alright, why did I not put negative 3x underneath my 5?
Because it would confuse you by
Because it would confuse you. Does my 5 have a variable next to it?
No.
No, so it's two different variables, right? I have a number on its own, and then I have a number with a variable. So 3x minus 3x is cancels out, right?
Yeah.
Then I have 4y equals, what does it equal?
negative 3x
Yeah, no, do
plus
Negative 3x plus 5. I could have also done 5 minus 3x. However, I think Eddie wanted to put it in the y equals mx plus b form by putting the x first. Okay? Is my y on its own?
No.
What do I need to do?
Divide.
Divide
Divide it.
by 4. And anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other.
So y equals negative 3/4
Plus 1 and 1
plus
fourth.
no,
Is
plus
this an improper fraction?
Yeah.
So what?
Would be 5.
1 and
No,
1
1 and
fourth. 1 and 1 fourth.
1 and 1/4
Yes.
as a mixed number.
Yes.
Why do you gotta change the 4 though?
You mean why do I have to change the 4?
Because you did 2 4s and like better don't touch
Oh,
each other.
you mean
That-
like,
Yeah.
oh, it just happens.
You can do that with 7s. You change it.
I do that with
Yes.
7s as well. What's up?
Why do you guys have to do fractions?
Because it's
Yeah,
easy.
no.
Why did I have to switch it?
Yeah, like
I mean, you could do it this way. You could leave it as an improper fraction, but
It's more confusing.
I would prefer for you guys to start getting comfortable to switching it into its simplest form.
Mix.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
So here we have 5/4, right? How many fourths make a whole? So if I have a pie and it's split in 4, right?
Yeah.
How many fourths do I have in this fraction right here? 5, which means I have to 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more.
Oh.
Fourths. How many whole pies did I cover? Well, these are 2 pies, right?
Yeah.
What
How many whole pies did I?
You only
shade in?
cover like one for all of
Wait,
it.
One
like separate
pie.
like
Well,
that?
from the 2.
So it's one.
So if these are 2 whole pies, right? And you
Yeah.
split, so let's say you're splitting the pie between the 3 of us plus Lala, right? So that's 4 people, right? So I know I have to split my pie between 4 people, right?
And then
But, however,
Kevin
Kevin walks in and says, I want a piece of pie.
Of course.
I'm not willing to split my whole pie 5 ways, right? So I just buy another one. So now I have 2 pies. How many of the first pie is going to be left if I give one piece to you, one piece to Miriam, one to myself, and one to Lala? How much am I going to have? How much am I going to have to cut from the second pie to give to Kevin? 1 out of how many?
Nothing. No tengo hambre.
So how many is there in total?
4.
Because this is saying this is 1/4,
Okay.
1/4,
I counted those empty ones.
1/4. How many of the 1/4 is shaded? 1
Right.
out of 4. Okay. Of money. Okay. How many quarters are in a dollar? 4. Okay. You have 5 quarters. How much money do you have? $1.25. This is the same thing as saying I have $1.25. Or you could say I have $1.01/4 or $1.25, right? So that's why it's easier to look at it this way,
What's up,
right?
Zach?
You have 1 1/4,
Okay.
right? All right. So now that we've talked about simplifying our fractions, what can we tell about our equations? Do we have one solution, no solution, or infinite amount of solutions?
We have
So no solution.
No solution.
Why do we have no solution?
Because the slopes are the same.
Because the wire strips are different.
and slope was the sound.
So my slopes are the same, right? Which ones are my slope? The 1 1/4 and 1?
No, negative.
No,
Negative
no, no, 4x.
3/4.
Negative 3/4 x.
And the mark.
So that checks out. We have the same slope. What's different?
The wider side.
Go ahead.
May I answer that?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.